In this video, we're going to be looking at using the circumscribed angle theorem to actually find the measure of those circumscribed angles. So for number one, I want to find the value of x, and I know from my theorem that x, my circumscribed angle, is going to equal to 180 minus the measure of my central angle. And so I see that the measure of my central angle here is 135. So that means that x is going to equal to 180 minus 135. And so when I do 180 minus 135, I get that x is equal to 45. Similarly for this next one, I want to find the measure of my circumscribed angle, and that is x. And I know that x is equal to 180 minus the measure of my central angle, which I see here is 120. And so when I do 180 minus 120, I get x is equal to 60. Now, if this were flip-flopped, let's say I had circle here, this circumscribed angle. Let's say I was actually given this 60 and I wanted to find x. You would still go through that same process. X would still equal 180 minus 60 to get the 120. Now for these next two, it's going to be a little bit different. I still want to find the value of x, but now I'm not actually given my central angle. I am given an inscribed angle instead. So we'll kind of talk through first how we get to a certain formula, and then we'll use that formula for the next one. So to do this problem, we're going to be applying two different theorems. First, we're going to be applying the measure of an inscribed angle theorem and the measure of a circumscribed angle theorem like we just learned. So I have my inscribed angle x, and that is equal to, if you remember from my inscribed angle theorem, it's equal to half of the measure of arc EF. And we know that the measure of arc EF is equal to the measure of that central angle, so EGF. And we just learned from this theorem today that the measure of my central angle, EGF, is equal to 180 minus the measure of my circumscribed angle, so measure of EHF. So that means that x is going to equal to 180 minus 30 divided by 2. Well, 180 minus 30 is 150. And so that means that x is equal to 75. So that was a lot of work to kind of show how we get there, but basically when you have the inscribed angle instead of the central angle, x is going to equal to 180 minus the measure of the circumscribed angle divided by 2. So let's do that same thing over here. So for number 4, I want to find the measure of my inscribed angle, and I know from this step right here that x is going to equal to 180 minus my circumscribed angle, which is 50, divided by 2. 180 minus 50, I get 130. And then 130 divided by 2, I get 65.